So let's talk about something we all have to do every single day: make sense of the world. I mean, how do we deal with a world that's just so beautiful one minute and then so incredibly tough the next? Today, we're going to look at the toolkit, the stories, and the big ideas that we humans use to navigate this whole journey of life. I want to start with this quote from the amazing author Kate DiCamillo. Just think about that for a second. Somewhere inside all of us is that 8-year-old kid, right? The one who saw the world with total wonder, but was also kind of starting to realize it could be a scary place too. That's the part of us that's always trying to figure it all out. And really, that brings us to the core question for today. It's the big one we all wrestle with. How in the world do you hold on to life's incredible joy and its unavoidable pain at the same time? How do you make room for both? All right, so let's dive into that. The first piece of the puzzle, our first clue, actually, comes from the stories we grew up with. Kate DiCamillo points to a book a lot of us know, Charlotte's Web, to show that stories are so much more than just an escape. They're like training grounds for life. Think about what DiCamillo's friend realized. She wasn't rereading that book hoping Charlotte would magically survive. No, she reread it because she knew Charlotte would die. And she also knew that Wilbur, and by extension, she, would be okay. The story wasn't teaching her that life is easy. It was teaching her that she was strong enough to handle it when it wasn't. So stories are a huge help. They get us ready. But what about the actual tools we use to build a meaningful life? Well, for that, we need a kind of toolkit with ideas from both psychology and spirituality. So let's open it up and look at the first tool inside. This first idea comes from a psychoanalyst named D.W. Winnicott. He called it a transitional object. You know, like a kid's favorite blanket or stuffed animal? It's that thing that gives them comfort and helps them bridge the gap between their own cozy inner world and the big, confusing outside worlds. And honestly, we never really stop using them. And this Buddhist parable just perfectly explains how these tools work. Imagine you need to cross a really dangerous river. You build a raft, and it's absolutely essential. It saves your life. But once you get to the other side, it would be crazy to keep carrying the raft on your back, right? The tool did its job. It was the way to get there, not the destination itself. So this idea of tools for a journey, it naturally leads to an even deeper question, which is the next tool in our kit. It's about the destination. What are you actually giving your life to? What are you paddling towards? Theologian Paul Tillich had a name for this, our ultimate concern. And his point was, everybody has one. It doesn't have to be God. It could be truth, or your family, or success, or justice. It's that one central thing that gives your life shape and purpose, the thing you organize everything else around. But, and this is a huge but, Tillich gave a really important warning. When we make our ultimate concerns something that's, well, finite, like money, or status, or even a rigid political ideology, it's going to let us down. It just can't hold the weight of our infinite human need for meaning. And putting our faith in these idols, as he called them, leads to this deep existential anxiety. Okay, so we all have this ultimate concern. But how does our understanding of it grow and change over a lifetime? Well, this brings us to our next tool, which is kind of like a roadmap for our development, from a psychologist named James Fowler. Fowler mapped out these 6 stages of what he called faith development. And by faith, he meant whatever gives you meaning. Just look at the journey here. We start out with imagination and stories, then we get very literal, then we try to fit in with our group, and if we keep going, we hopefully reach a place where we can think for ourselves, embrace complexity, and live with real compassion for everyone. Now, Fowler said that for a lot of people, the hardest part of the whole journey is this one specific jump, moving from stage 3 to stage 4. This is the moment you stop just borrowing your beliefs from your family or your community, and you start the really tough work of figuring out what you actually believe. It can feel like a crisis for sure, but it's the gateway to real maturity. And here's where it all clicks together so beautifully. Fowler's stages give us the how. They describe the path we walk. And Tillich's idea of ultimate concern gives us the why. It's the deep need that pushes us along that path. See? In the early stages, our ultimate concern is basically handed to us. At that critical jump to stage 4, we have to choose it for ourselves. And in the later stages, we truly learn how to live it. So, after all of that, all the questioning, the deconstructing, the growing, where do we end up? Well, we end up right back where we started. But now we have new eyes. We come back to the world ready to see it for what it really is. This old Zen quote just captures it perfectly. It's like there are three phases. First, you just see the world simply, as a kid does. Mountains are mountains. Then you start analyzing everything, taking it all apart, and suddenly mountains are not just mountains anymore. But finally, if you stick with it, you come back to seeing them again. But this time, it's a deep, knowing simplicity. You see the mountain, and you really see the mountain. And that brings us right back to Kate DiCamillo and what she thinks our purpose is after all this. After seeing all the heartbreak and complexity, she boils it down first. She says, our job is to trust that other people are strong enough to hear the truth, to bear it. Next, our job is about connection. It's about being brave enough to really see another person in all their messiness and beauty, and letting them see you too. That's it. That's where love and community come from. And finally, this is the big one. Our job is to love the world. Not some perfect, imaginary world. This one. The one that's full of sorrow and joy, heartbreak and beauty. To just love all of it. Because it's here and it's ours. So this whole journey of making meaning, it really all comes down to a question you have to ask yourself. It's about looking at life exactly as it is. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What's the hard truth in your own life that you need to carry? And what stories, what tools, what ultimate concern helps you find the strength to bear it?